welcome to episode 2 of Hackathon Heroes, a series where I'm interviewing people who've had success at hackathons, hoping to give you tips, inspiration, ideas to make your hackathon journeys a success. And today I have Mimi joining us fresh off her victory at the Learn Web3 DI Hackathon. First, I thought it was D&I Hackathon, and I saw it. I was like, "Oh, it's like a diversity and inclusion hackathon. This is really cool." But that's not what it was at all. It was decentralized intelligence hackathon.
Mhm.
Mimi, welcome to the Hackathon Heroes. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. What we'd like to start with here is a bit of, how you either got introduced to this hackathon or just hackathons in general, and like kind of your ideas or preparation, either mentally deciding, hey, I want to do this hackathon. Like, what makes you decide to do that in the first
hmm
place? What made you do this crazy thing called hackathons?
Well, for me, honestly, I'm just trying to break into tech, IT, and just Web3 in general. And I've been on this journey in Web3 for since around late 2020, early 2021. And then, yeah, so I really am just all about wanting to be part of the cutting edge of like technology and just I want to be early and I want to be able to have a seat and not only that but also like make my mark and contribute to emerging technologies. It's fascinating to me. It's something that I've been into since I was a kid, tech and business. So I mean, I learned about this hackathon. Uh, I actually kind of forgot now. I know, oh, I'm part of Learn Web3 DAO. So that's who hosted the hackathon. hmm Huge shout out to them. And so I learned about the hackathon. I don't know if it's through email, Twitter, or X, whatever the hell I call it Twitter, okay? Wherever, whatever you want to call it. But I learned about it. It's same. Uh, but yeah, so I learned about it and then was, I just wanted to jump right in, you know? I mean, I am actually coming off of a really tough time. Like in 2023 was a tough year for me. And when I finally returned back home to Southern California, being so blessed to do so, I'm just super focused now. And being in this space has really tapped into kind of like I said, I've been into tech since like I was a kid. So being in the space and having the opportunity to build and contribute, especially in something new. I mean, we're all kind of new, so we're all learning together. Uh, I I got some confidence behind me, some more confidence. And I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And that's what I did. And as far as planning is concerned, like I said, I do have a sales and marketing background, business development. And um, as far as planning is concerned, I mean, I just attended all of like the early Twitter spaces and meetings that they held for to for Q&As to ask questions to get insight because this actually was my first hackathon. So I needed all the information, all the help that I could get. And I just showed up and I was excited and curious. And I, just took full advantage of learning from people in the space who have done this before. They're giving out tips. I had like notes on my phone. And then just started hashing out ideas. Shout out to also Find AI because that's like it's that and ChatGPT, just AI in general. I mean, it's my assistant. So I
Shout
was
out to all
able
the
to
bots watching.
Shout out to you. But yeah, so just kind of using that to flesh out ideas and then writing stuff down and then planning for it. Um, that's basically how I got started.
Very nice, and that's awesome. That's your first hackathon. I think many people wonder when they are ready to do a hackathon, like whether their developer skills or the tools there. And it sounds like you made some good routes on attending the workshop sessions, which I think some people forget is like a an asset to actually get knowledge on that. Maybe to people who are new, you know, what would you give some advice or tips on like, okay, you want to do this hackathon thing, but like, I don't feel ready. Like, is it just attending the workshops, or what's kind of your what made you feel like you can get going on this?
Well, here's a cheat code. So the category that I placed second in was actually an ideathon. No code was required. And a lot of, I'm kind of actually now that I'm in the hackathon space, like there's another one coming up from Bittlebox. And they also have a category where it's for creativity. You don't have to code. So I got in that way. There was a category through Chain Safe Ideathon. That's why I used a Web3.js like creative plugin. Or I'm still working on it as far as the code is concerned. But I came up with the idea, and then I got some really good feedback from devs like, oh, this would be a great idea. And so I fleshed out a proposal because that was actually how you enter that category is to flesh out a proposal. So I did that, and I got done with the category. I mean, I got done with the proposal like about a week early or so. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try my hand at building. I would try my hand at building and maybe I can enter the ideathon and the building. Now, with the building, there was some, since I am a baby dev, I didn't make
Shout out to all the baby devs watching as well.
seriously. Um, since I am a baby dev, I didn't finish enough to like submit for the build bounty. I was having issues with the testing files. So, and I had to make a call, and just like that last minute call, like the day of, I'm like, you know what? This is not going to work. I want to be able to submit something, even if it's just a proposal. That's it. So that's another tip too. You really have to be realistic with your skill level and what you can do. We all get caught up, myself included, because if there was Olympics for overthinking, I would be platinum, okay? Uh, so I tend to overthink, and I have these gregarious ideas, and I want to do all of the things. And we all do, you know. But you have to ground yourself, go touch some grass, ground yourself, and think like, you know what, realistically, what can I do? This is, you know what, this is out of my scope. This is out of my realm. Let me take it back a notch. And that's what I had to keep doing throughout the competition as well, is reminding myself, not in a self deprecating way, but it's just reality. Like, okay, this is what I can do, especially since we also have things to do outside of this. Like I have an IRL job, you know. I have other things to take care of. I mean, you got to take care of your health and things of that nature. And, so there's other things, some people have families that they're taking care of and full-time jobs and other, so you have to really be like real with yourself as to what you can do and then just work within those parameters.
I like this idea of maybe having an overthinking track for a hackathon, because I think you might have some tough competition with myself on topics of
Yo,
this scope.
there
But
should be a hack of, yes, and overthinking. Who can overthink the most? Just, oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
cool. So this obviously it was an online hackathon, and I've heard
Hmm.
a lot of people in the community, and what they say is they have troubles completing the online hackathons because to your point, right? You have a life outside of the hackathon, and if you're not physically in a location, locked down, it's hard for the people to complete those things.
Hmm.
So I'm curious if you have like any hard tips of if you're managing the life and managing the hackathon, whether it's like working on it daily or like what was your sort of schedule like to get actually working?
Well, for me, the job that I do have is a little bit of it's a blessing and a curse in the fact that it's very part-time. So I am a part-time pet care specialist at the Pets Hotel at PetSmart. So it's really cool. I get to go play with dogs and stuff every time I go to work. So that's really awesome. But at the same time, it's flexible and it allows me time. I'm lucky in that regard. I know everyone's not as lucky in that regard. So I understand that privilege that I have, and not everyone can, you know, put in a request to take off. Like, because I actually did put in a request to, like, don't schedule me for this week. Like the last week where I knew it was going to be like submission week, I was like, don't schedule me. Like, because it's kind of, it's very, it's, yeah, no, because it was also too, I know with that, with my at work, it's because it is so part-time, it's very hard I don't even have like consistent like days that I can count on and say, okay, I work these days, I can do this. It's sporadic. It's whenever they need you. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, they just kind of put you in. So I was like, you know what, this week don't put me in. Just don't put me in. Don't put me in, coach. Leave me alone. And so, but I mean, what I would say is again, be realistic with what you can. Be first of all, when you come up with an idea or something, make sure it is something that you can do, whether it be on your own or in a team. If you're in a team, make sure that you really understand your role and your responsibilities. Now, I wasn't in a team, I was by myself. And I've really found that like it has been kind of tough, especially now with the building that I'm trying to build it. Like I'm actually now looking for contributors because I'm like, oh, this is a lot. But
Open call.
yeah, for real.
Is here available?
Seriously.
So we'll
Seriously.
we'll put the link to the repo.
Thank you. Uh, but like as far as like coming up with the ideas and fleshing things out and getting things organized, I work best like by myself. So I mean what I did was even before like because of course there was all these like pre-workshops. So I came up with some ideas. Some of them were too gregarious. I'm like, okay, no, that's too much. Can't do that. So then it's like, okay, come up with some other things that I can do that are simple yet effective. And I actually kind of ended up changing my approach like last minute. But I had fleshed out like time. Like I had like I used Notion and I just organized like, okay, these are the steps I'm probably going to have to take. This is what I'm going to need to do. I know I'm working, I have this schedule, so I can, on these days, we'll do develop research and development. On these days, we'll start, you know, building, on these days, so you kind of like, I just basically just kind of scheduled it out in chunks, I guess. Writing things down. Heavy calendar usage, but I also have a written planner. So I have a good old fashioned,
Oh wow, double duty on the task and management, or triple duty:
yes,
calendar,
yes.
Notion, and written planner.
And I have multiple notebooks where I write down ideas and notes, and then I transfer. Then when I want to turn those into a reality, I transfer them to my paper calendar, to then my digital calendar. And then I just planned out from there. And I used Notion too, because I wrote down notes in Notion and you can have like attached files and things of that nature. And then now you can actually link Notion to your Google Calendar. So that's cool. So yeah, just very like just really setting the groundwork. That's what really helped a lot in planning to do a hackathon and fitting it into my to my work, as far as into my life, as far as the balance goes. Again, I'm very fortunate to live in a beautiful place right now. And I keep my blinds are open, so it reminds me to go outside, touch some grass, drink some water. You kind of have to. There was even at the
Yeah,
no, even
those essentials you need to.
right, because sometimes I do get so engrossed. It's like did I eat? Did I drink water? Did I pee? So I at the beginning I even set up alarms on my phone, like breakfast now, okay, drink some water, okay, do this until I kind of got used to it. And then it just was like, okay, I didn't really have to do that so much anymore, but just very structured, just very like, okay, I know I want to do this today or even get a workout in. Okay, do this. And yeah, just very, yeah, I guess like think of the big picture and then break it down to little things.
Nice. I'm smelling like I know people make a living off selling Notion templates. So a Notion template for hackathons could be a good good selling point.
Yeah, it could.
Cool. So let's transition over to talking about your actual project. So I have it here, the repo, and I'll share, like I said, a screenshot of it as well. But it's called Faucet Testnet. Maybe walk through what it is, kind of your conception of first what the problem that you tried to solve with is, and then how it works now at least. And like you said, you're calling for contributors, so
Yeah.
how other people can help you build this.
Yeah, so basically it uses Web3 JS as well as Tableland. So basically just trying to solve just make it easier for developers and community managers and those who need access to tokens, to testnet tokens using the faucet, just make it easier for them. So it's basically like use the plug it's so the plugin initiates and it does a request. It talks to it makes a request, it talks to the blockchain, the network, and then there's actually within Tableland like a database you can create to have like a list, like if you want to have a list of people saying like, okay, this is the list of developers who are going to be doing this, or who are going to be getting tokens, and then the plugin talks to Tableland and actually even writes it and like it could like add addresses and things like that to the in the nature like in the background. Just basically like automate the testnet token, like receiving testnet token, automate that process. Um, I actually also want to develop it more so to where you can even do it from the command line. So you could just, from your command line, just, oh, okay, do testnet token and stuff like that. Um, the issue, basically, what I like about why I decided to use web3.js is because their goal is to make Web3 development easier, to improve the developer experience. And so that's what I like. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. And this is the way in order to do, a way to do so, to make testnet tokens easier. And then also, too, another issue that I actually didn't know that I was actually told by other developers and people that distribute testnet tokens is there's bots that come along and take all of the tokens, like tap the faucet.
Well,
So,
yeah, that's why they're like the verification is like even more ridiculous. It gets more and more ridiculous. Like join this Discord and then write the message to this bot and then
right,
shake this man's hand down the street and then you can get 3 testnet tokens. Thank you very much. It's like
right.
God, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm trying to basically with the Web3 JS faucet plugin for testnets is to offer two things. So automation and then also some more security too. Like just kind of, and definitely the automation part just for developer experience to just make things a little easier because it can get a little difficult in these Web3 streets. So.
It can, and that's what I like. I like the kind of the meta hack of making tools for developers to better be developer or the developer experience.
Right.
So that's really cool to see. And yeah, in terms of people helping you out on this, like what do you feel you need the most help on? We'll make a call to the community.
Well, I mean, yeah. So I have, again, I'm a baby dev. And I'm just like, okay, the biggest thing is the testing, dealing with the test, like dealing with, was it just mock Axios? And then I tried Mocha Chai because I thought that would be a little easier. And then it just messed things up. I was like, no. So then I scrapped that, went back to Jest. And then I went back into the Learn Web. Then I went back into the Learn Web3 community. It's like, oh, wait, try running it from this folder instead. So I tried that, still gave me some errors. So I'm just trying to get the testing down of just test what is there now so that I can start building out more of the features. It's basically what I'm trying to do.
Awesome. That's good. That's very clear. And I think, I mean, not a lot of people love doing testing, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who does. So they can definitely help out. Well, I guess to wrap up here, you gave a lot of advice, a lot of hard tips, but I'm just gonna always end this in this way. But if there's like one maybe philosophical advice that you would give somebody either starting out for a hackathon or even it's like their fifth hackathon,
Hmm.
what would it be to kind of close out?
Like some philosophical advice. I mean, speaking of philosophy, like I practice a lot of stoicism and a little bit of with a little with a lot of bit with a little bit of like, well, it's like a balance between the two of stoicism and hedonism. So as far as the stoic part is concerned, is to essentially get out of your own way. Um, just ground, humble, and don't be afraid to build publicly. That is actually one thing that I had to overcome during the hackathon was building publicly and learning how to, I guess, in a kind of trustless world, like in a kind of a trustless area where it's like you're kind of, like you got to be careful what links to click on and who's messaging you, to actually kind of lean on and trust the community at the same time. Because there was, in the back of my mind, there was some fear about if I share my ideas, people are going to steal them, try to take it and do it themselves. And, you know, yeah. So I really had to force myself to get over that. And actually, there was someone I worked with a few years ago when I was doing copywriting. And his thing is, you know what, take my ideas, because, you know, if I have them and they got to get out there somehow to improve, you know what I'm saying, to contribute to the world. So he's like, take them. So I've really tried to like adopt that. Still a little work in progress on that. Because at the same time, like, you're like, you want credit for your ideas and whatnot. Um, but yeah, I had to really let that guard down and change my perspective.
Nice. That's good parting words. And I mean, I like this idea of just releasing your ideas because I've started to do that myself. I'm like, if you hack on the same project that I just publicly announced, then I guess it's like I also win in a little bit. So I like this
Right.
idea of like you got to get your ideas out no matter what.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I think you mentioned it earlier, but what's the next hackathon for you? As all good hackathon heroes, they always have an eye to the next one. So, what are you
Yeah.
going to be working on next?
Thank you. I am going to look into, I did register for the Box Hackathon coming up. I believe it's actually tomorrow. I have to, before work, I will attend I guess like a Q&A type of workshop to kind of let you know what it's going to be about. Um, So I'm doing that. And then I think it actually kicks off the next Wednesday, which is the 29th. So it kicks off like next week. So I'm going to be looking to see, and then again, there's a no code portion of that aspect to it, where you don't have to build it. You could just be like creative as far as marketing and stuff like that is concerned. So I'm going to be looking into that. And then I just completed the Gitcoin grant round funding for this project for the Web3 JS plugin. For testnet tokens. So I'm going to continue building that. Yeah. I'm going to continue building that. And I'm also doing the 100 Days of Code challenge. You'll see mostly on Twitter, using the hashtag 100 Days of Code. And then, but it's actually hosted by Learn Web3 DAO. So that it's also hashtag 100 Days of Code LW3. So I'm doing that as well. And I've been working on different things. Mainly some of the courses I've been taking with Learn Web3, and then also my project as well.
Nice. I'm starting to see a pattern. So I'm just going to say you're spoken like a true hackathon hero. You've got like three or four things going on. One, extending the project you built, and then new projects and things like that. So that's amazing. And yeah, wish you the best of luck for all your adventures
Thank
in the
you.
world of hackathons.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.